I never imagined I'd be sitting here, looking straight into this camera, about to say something that might change the way you see me forever. But I'm tired of hiding. I'm tired of carrying this weight around. So here it is. Yes, I had an affair with my husband's boss. Even now, just saying those words out loud makes my heart race and my palms sweat. It wasn't planned. It wasn't something I ever thought I was capable of. But life has a way of catching you off guard, especially when you're already emotionally starving and no one around seems to notice you fading. This isn't just a story about betrayal or lust or lies. It's about loneliness, about the cracks that grow in silence, about what happens when two people drift so far apart that even a stranger starts to feel more like home. By the end of this video, I'm not just going to tell you what happened. I'm going to take you with me through the quiet hurt, the moments I questioned myself, the mistakes I made, and the woman I became on the other side of it all. So stay with me, and if this kind of raw, unfiltered truth is something you think the world needs more of, go ahead and subscribe or tap that little bell. I've got more to share, a lot more. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button to support us and join our growing community. We promise you stories that will make you reflect, question, and maybe even see yourself in the characters we share. My name doesn't matter right now. What matters is that I've been married for 14 years. I'm a mother. I used to believe in fairy tales, in forever, in soulmates. But then life happened, the kind of life no one prepares you for. I'm 42, and like many women my age, I've spent a large part of my life giving to my husband, my children, my career, my responsibilities. I'm not complaining. Well, maybe I am. But more than that, I'm confessing. Because for so long, I wore a smile I didn't feel. I showed up to PTA meetings, baked cookies for church events, laughed at dinner tables where no one really saw me. I thought that was what love was supposed to look like when the honeymoon ends. But deep down, I was aching for something more: connection, appreciation, maybe even desire. And then he came along. Now, I need to say this up front. This video isn't about glorifying what I did. This isn't a look what happened to me kind of story. This is about being honest with myself and with you, because maybe, just maybe, someone out there is feeling the same emptiness I felt. And maybe this will help them make a different choice. Yes, there will be scandal in this story. Yes, there will be secrets, but there will also be tears, reflection, growth, and hopefully healing. If you've ever felt like you were losing yourself inside your own life, this one's for you. Before it all happened, my life looked fine on the outside. Stable, predictable, safe. I had what most people would call a good life. A husband who provided, 2 beautiful kids, a modest home with a white fence. I had a job I didn't hate, routines I stuck to, and responsibilities that kept me busy. But somewhere along the way, I stopped recognizing the woman in the mirror. I met my husband in college. We were young, reckless, madly in love. He was charming, ambitious, always making big plans. I was the grounding force, patient, nurturing, dependable. We made it work for years, building our lives brick by brick, climbing the corporate ladder, raising babies, paying bills. You know the story. But over time, we stopped really seeing each other. Our conversations became transactional. Did you pay the gas bill? Don't forget to pick up the kids. We're out of eggs again. We slept in the same bed, but with oceans between us. And yet, I stayed, because that's what you do, right? You endure. You stay for the kids, for the mortgage, for the facade. Back then, marriages weren't about romance and fireworks forever. We were taught that love is duty, sacrifice, holding it together even when the glue's long dried up. I grew up watching my mother do it, staying silent, staying loyal. I thought I was doing the same, until the silence became unbearable. I remember once asking myself, is this it? Is this the rest of my life? And I felt shame, guilt, but mostly I felt nothing. And that scared me the most. My husband, Rob, is a good man. Truly. He's hardworking, disciplined, predictable in all the ways that make you feel secure, and all the ways that can make a woman feel invisible. He loved me in the only way he knew how, providing, fixing things around the house, never missing a birthday. But somewhere along the line, he stopped hearing me, or maybe I stopped speaking. Then there was James, my husband's boss. Older, wiser, divorced, charismatic in that slow, dangerous kind of way. He didn't just walk into a room. He lingered in it. He looked at you like he already knew your secrets. He made people laugh easily, made women blush without even trying. He wasn't better than Rob. He was just different. The first time we met was at a holiday party Rob begged me to attend. I was in a black dress I hadn't worn in years. James walked up with 2 glasses of red wine and said, "That smile doesn't belong in a corner." And just like that, I felt seen. Not as a wife, not as a mother, just a woman. It started with small things, eye contact that lasted a second too long, casual conversations at company events, occasional texts about work matters that gradually became personal check-ins. I told myself it was innocent. I told myself I was imagining it, but deep down, I knew. There was a moment, small, quiet, that I now look back on as the beginning of the end. We were at a leadership retreat, and it was raining. Everyone had gone to their rooms. I was sitting by the fireplace, alone, sipping coffee. He walked in and sat beside me, not saying a word. We just listened to the storm. And I remember thinking, this shouldn't feel this comforting. It wasn't lust at first. It was loneliness, a loneliness so loud it echoed. And in James, I found someone who noticed, someone who asked how I was doing, and actually waited for the answer. I know how it sounds, but the heart doesn't always fall like a hammer. Sometimes it crumbles slowly, softly, like dust. Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt torn between what you're supposed to feel and what your heart actually wants? Have you ever stood at the edge of a decision, knowing it could ruin everything, but still felt drawn to it like a moth to flame? If you've ever been there, or somewhere close, drop a comment. No judgment here, just honesty. Let's talk about it below. I'll be reading every one. It didn't happen overnight. I wish it had, then maybe I could have stopped it. But it was like watching a sunset. You don't notice it's getting dark until you're sitting in the quiet, wondering when the light disappeared. At first, it was just friendly banter. Meetings where James and I would linger behind a few extra minutes, talking about everything except work. He'd ask questions my husband hadn't asked in years. What did I love to do before I became a mom? What made me laugh so hard I couldn't breathe? When was the last time I cried for no reason? We never touched. Not at first. Just words. Long glances. Occasional texts at night. A joke here. A compliment there. And still, I convinced myself it wasn't cheating. I hadn't crossed any lines. Yet. But emotional affairs are tricky. They're not loud. They don't kick the door in. They whisper. And by the time you hear them, they've already made a home in your heart. I remember the first time I realized I missed him when we didn't speak. It was a weekend. Rob and I had taken the kids to visit his parents. I was surrounded by family, laughter, barbecue smoke, kids running barefoot across the lawn, and all I could think about was a man who wasn't there. The guilt didn't hit all at once. It was more like a slow, creeping fog. And every time I convinced myself to pull away, James would say something that felt like oxygen to a drowning woman. You deserve to be seen, to be heard. And then, the night everything changed. We were in Chicago for a quarterly strategy meeting. The team had gone out to dinner. Too many drinks. Too many stories shared under dim lights. He walked me to my hotel room. I said goodnight. He turned to leave. Then I said it. Do you want to come in for a bit? Even as the words left my mouth, I hated myself, but I didn't stop them. And he didn't say no. I don't need to describe what happened next. You already know. But what I will say is this: it wasn't fireworks. It was quiet, tender. It felt like something I'd forgotten existed. And for a moment, I didn't feel like a wife, or a mother, or a tired woman juggling everyone's needs but her own. I just felt alive. But the morning after, I couldn't even look at myself. I laid in bed while he showered, staring at the ceiling, counting the seconds, wondering if I could undo it somehow. I whispered to myself, "You've broken everything." I remember the smell of hotel soap, the chill of the room, the guilt burning at the back of my throat. I tried to act normal at breakfast. I laughed at a coworker's joke. But inside, I was crumbling. James didn't pressure me after that. He didn't chase or manipulate. He just said, "Whatever this was, I'll respect your silence if that's what you need." But that made it harder. He didn't take anything. I gave it. I kept showing up at work, kept smiling at my kids, kept cooking dinner. But every now and then, I'd open my phone and read old messages from him, just to feel something again. I'm not sharing this to justify it. I'm not proud. I betrayed someone who loved me, someone who didn't deserve it. But life isn't always black and white. Sometimes it's heartbreak hidden in routine. Sometimes it's longing in silence. And if you're watching this and silently judging me, I get it. I've judged me too. But if you've ever felt invisible in your own life, you might understand. If this part of the story is resonating with you, if you've ever stood in the middle of a decision that scared you, that shamed you, just know you're not alone. Go ahead and like this video if you're still with me. It lets me know this space matters. And feel free to share your own experience in the comments. Sometimes telling the truth is the first step toward healing. Take a deep breath. Maybe grab some water. I'm not done yet. The hardest part is still to come. The thing about secrets is they're never really yours to keep. They grow, they breathe, and eventually they scream louder than your silence. It happened on a Tuesday night. Rob came home early. I was in the kitchen, scrolling through old texts from James. I didn't hear the door open, didn't realize he was behind me until he asked, "Who's James?" I froze. My heart actually stopped. In that moment, it was like the world tilted, not because I got caught, but because of the look in his eyes. Not anger, not even betrayal, just heartbreak. He didn't shout. He didn't throw things. He just walked to our room and closed the door. That quiet, it was deafening. I slept on the couch that night, and the night after, we didn't speak for 3 days, and on the 4th day, I broke the silence. I told him everything, not just the affair, but the loneliness, the aching silence between us, how I felt invisible. And then I cried like I hadn't cried in years. Not for James, not for what we had, but for the version of me I lost somewhere along the way. I didn't expect forgiveness. I didn't deserve it. I just wanted him to see that I knew what I had done, and that I hated myself for it. That night, Rob said something I'll never forget. He said, "I loved you enough to grow old with you, but I guess I forgot to ask if you were still growing." That's the thing about regret. It's not always about getting caught. Sometimes it's realizing you became the person you swore you'd never be. But I also believe that regret can be fertilizer. Pain can grow something new, if you let it. Have you ever made a choice you wish you could undo? Something you've carried like a secret stone in your chest. Tell me, how did you cope with your darkest moment? What helped you breathe again? Drop a comment, even if it's just one word. We don't heal by pretending we're perfect. We heal by admitting we're not. If you've stayed with me this far, thank you. I know this wasn't easy to hear. It wasn't easy to live. But I believe we earn our healing one truth at a time. Rob didn't leave, and I didn't ask him to stay. We just stayed, together, yet apart for a while. It was like rebuilding a house after the fire. Every conversation was a brick. Every apology was mortar. James, we never spoke again. Not out of hate, but out of acceptance. Some chapters aren't meant to be revisited. They're just meant to be understood. I started journaling, reading, praying again, not for things to go back to what they were, but for the strength to become someone I could live with, someone Rob could trust again. This affair didn't destroy me. It revealed me, my emptiness, my unmet needs, my inability to speak up when I was hurting. It showed me how easy it is to get lost when you stop being honest with yourself and with your partner. Forgiveness isn't a light switch. It's a sunrise. Slow, gradual, but possible. We're still working on us, still rebuilding. But there's laughter now, and openness, and the quiet peace that comes from facing the truth and surviving it. Let's talk in the comments. Share what you've been through. Support someone else. This is a safe space, judgment-free. Just real stories, real healing. Follow the channel. Join our community page. Attend one of our live confession circles. Or just be here quietly watching. That's okay too. From silence to secrets, from temptation to betrayal, from heartbreak to healing, this has been my story. A painful one. Yes, but also a necessary one. And if I've learned anything, it's that we're all just trying to be seen, loved, heard, understood. Sometimes we get it wrong. Sometimes we fall. But every fall is a chance to rise differently. To the woman I used to be, I forgive you. You were tired, lonely, afraid, but you survived, and now you're learning to thrive. To the man I almost lost, thank you for your grace, your patience, your willingness to stay and rebuild when walking away would have been easier. And to you, watching this, thank you for your time, your openness, your heart. If my story resonated with you, please hit that like button. It helps this video reach someone else who might need to hear it. Subscribe if you'd like to hear more confessions like this. We're not here to pretend. We're here to heal together.